Okay, let's dive in. Picture this. Massive, huge silver ships just appearing over our cities.
Mhm.
Silent, blocking out the sun.
Yeah, just there.
Yeah.
No warning, nothing. Just this overwhelming alien presence, the Dominion.
Exactly. And this is the core of that incredible story you shared with us, the learner. It starts with this almost dreamlike or maybe nightmarish arrival.
And then the declaration comes. Not invaders, necessarily, but creators, masters. Suddenly, humanity isn't in charge anymore. Everything's flipped upside down.
Right. So this deep dive, it's not just about, recounting an invasion story. We're digging into this firsthand account you provided, looking at the total upheaval. Our mission here for you is to really unpack the key moments, the big surprises, and what ultimately sparked humanity's fight back. Because you brought us this story, and we want to get into the most crucial bits.
Makes sense. So that initial arrival, the scale was just immense.
Yeah.
Think about it. A global broadcast, instantly, in every single language. That alone tells you the level of tech we were dealing with.
Totally overwhelming. And that symbol they used, the gold circle with the 3 triangles.
Instantly iconic, right? Burned into everyone's minds. A symbol of this new reality.
And the speed of the capitulation. World leaders just folded, the account says, within hours.
Well, what could they do? It speaks volumes about the psychological shock, I think.
But it wasn't just shock and awe, was it? The control method was more insidious. The compliance protocol.
Ah, yes. The neural implants. This is where it gets really dark, really fast.
Tell us about that.
Well, the brilliance, if you can call it that, wasn't brute force. It was subtle. These tiny implants right in the brain, suppressing aggression, rewarding obedience.
Oh.
It's a much more efficient way to control billions than constant warfare. But it raises huge questions about free will, doesn't it? What does it even mean to be you anymore?
Exactly. Chilling stuff. But even then, amidst all that control, you get sparks of defiance. Like Zara Chen.
Right. Her refusal, her escape, that's really the first domino falling, isn't it? She finds her way to this tiny, fledgling resistance.
It makes you wonder, what makes someone resist like that when everything seems lost?
That's the human spirit, maybe. Anyway, Zara's escape is key. And the resistance, led by this Dr. Okoye, starts looking for weaknesses, any gap in the Dominion's armor.
And somehow they zero in on Antarctica.
Yeah, which seems odd, right? Remote, icy. Why there?
Exactly. It feels like one of those details you'd normally ignore, but it turns out to be crucial. So what was special about Antarctica?
Well, their hunch was right. Turns out the Dominion were deliberately avoiding it. So Zara's team, using old tech, pre-Dominion stuff, to sneak past.
Clever.
They head down there and find something impossible. A structure. Ancient. Really ancient. Predating us.
Whoa. Okay, that changes things.
Big time. And inside, holographic archives.
Yeah.
And this is where the story just explodes.
Let me guess. Not what they expected.
Not even close. Humanity, we're not originally from Earth. We're refugees.
Refugees? From what?
A massive galactic war ages ago. Eons. And the Dominion. They weren't creators, they were the enemy.
Wait, so this wasn't a first contact?
No, it was round 2. Apparently, we fought them to a standstill way back then. Earth was chosen as a sanctuary, a place to deliberately forget our past, our warrior nature.
We chose to forget. Wow, okay. But why come back now? What triggered the Dominion's return?
Fear. Deep fear of something the archives called humanity's adaptive consciousness.
Adaptive consciousness. What does that mean?
It suggests our evolution isn't linear. We make these huge, unpredictable leaps. Mentally, culturally, like exponential growth spurts, cross-pollinating ideas, generating novelty like crazy.
Yeah, okay.
The Dominion remember fighting us. They saw that potential, that inherent chaos, maybe as a long-term threat they couldn't control. So they hit us First while we were still, unaware.
A preemptive strike based on our potential. That's quite something. It says a lot about how dangerous they thought we could become.
Exactly. And it hints at their own limitations, perhaps, their fear of the unpredictable.
So this unbelievable truth starts to leak out.
Through hidden...
That works, right. And it causes this awakening.
Yeah, a collective awakening. It wasn't just learning facts. People started feeling it, like remembering a forgotten part of themselves, this deeper heritage.
Like muscle memory, but for the species.
Kind of. A dormant consciousness reactivating.
Yeah.
And it fuels this shared sense of, okay, we need to fight back.
And their first big move, taking out the communication hub in Seoul, the source of that compliance protocol.
Right. A direct hit on the control mechanism. Symbolic and practical.
How do they even manage that?
Audacity and ingenuity. Zara's team used conventional explosives, sure, but they also combined it with focused willpower. amplified through salvaged Dominion tech they'd started figuring out.
Focused willpower, like
Yeah.
psychic power.
Maybe not psychic exactly, but tapping into that consciousness thing. The archives hinted at it, and they experimented. And it worked. The hub fell, the mental fog lifted for millions.
That must have been an incredible moment.
Huge. But, predictably, the Dominion response was immediate and brutal.
Yeah, you'd expect them to just crush it.
They tried. But in Seoul, something amazing happened. People didn't just roll over. They fought back. Fiercely.
Oh, with what?
With whatever they had. But mostly with that adaptability the Dominion feared. Unpredictable tactics, sheer stubbornness, creativity. It was chaotic. It threw the Dominion's rigid, orderly way of thinking completely off balance.
So even that was costly.
Very costly. But it was a symbolic victory. It proved that even newly awakened humanity was dangerous. It showed the limits of pure logic against, well, the human spirit.
Okay, so after Seoul, the Dominion clamped down harder, right?
Yeah.
Quarantine zones, more intense compliance measures in the big cities.
Yep. But the resistance didn't die out. It just spread into the spaces between the major control centers.
And this is where Dr. Sarah Vega comes in with a breakthrough.
Exactly. She figures out something fundamental about Dominion tech. Those crystalline matrices they use, they don't just process data. They respond to focused thought. Like they have a basic awareness linked to consciousness.
Responding to thought. Okay, that opens up possibilities.
Huge possibilities. It suggests human consciousness itself could be weaponized against them. Our chaotic thoughts could disrupt their orderly systems.
Which leads to that insane story from Mumbai,
Yeah.
the enforcer unit. They taught it to dream.
It sounds wild, I know. But according to the account, by exposing this captured enforcer unit constantly to human thought patterns, its programming started to glitch, adapt. It became unpredictable.
So what happened?
Its armor changed, its weapons acted differently. And when other Dominion forces showed up, it fought alongside the humans. It was proof of concept. Human consciousness could literally reprogram Dominion tech.
Wow. Okay. A rogue Dominion robot fighting for humanity.
Pretty much. A living example of adaptive consciousness in action, turning their own tools against them.
And that spurred more innovation, those underground forges.
Yes. People started not just using salvage tech, but actively reshaping it.
Yeah.
Applying human ingenuity, that chaotic element, to Dominion principles, making it their own.
That's incredible adaptability under pressure.
Necessity, right. Existential threat drives incredible leaps.
But then, disaster strikes, the betrayal, Marcus Webb.
Yeah. That's a tough part of the story. Compromised by the Dominion, they threatened his family, offered safety in exchange for information.
Human weakness. Always the Achilles heel.
It led to a devastating ambush during a major resistance operation. Huge losses. Zara barely made it out.
How did the resistance even recover from that?
It was a massive blow, obviously,
Yeah.
but it also revealed something important.
What's that?
Why would the Dominion resort to something like that, compromising one person, if they were totally confident? It suggested desperation. It suggested the resistance was actually hurting them more than they realized. Their fear was showing.
Ah, interesting. So the betrayal, while terrible, actually showed the Dominion weren't invincible. They felt threatened.
Precisely. And maybe that realization pushed them to look deeper into those Antarctic archives again.
And they found.
Orbital coordinates. Hidden deep within. A safeguard, maybe.
Yeah.
Left by our ancestors. A message across time.
A backup plan from the stars. But getting to orbit. With the Dominion controlling the skies, that seems impossible.
Almost. The power difference was still immense. But humanity, desperate times.
Don't tell me. Another crazy idea.
You could say that. A planetary catapult.
What?
Using modified Dominion gravity tech anchored in massive mountain ranges. Tibet, the Andes, the Rockies, to literally hurl things into orbit.
You're kidding. Launching stuff into space with giant gravity slingshots.
It sounds completely nuts, but that's what they did. It took multiple failures, immense risks, tweaking the alien tech. But eventually they got a probe up. And then a crew, led by Zara.
That is profoundly audacious. Humanity literally using the planet itself and stolen alien tech to break free.
A testament to that unpredictable ingenuity. Reaching space again, despite everything.
And up there at those coordinates, what did they find?
The final piece. An ancient orbital structure, human-built from before the forgetting. A consciousness amplifier. A device designed to network human minds on a planetary, maybe even system-wide scale. To link thoughts, experiences, create a unified field of consciousness.
So that's what the Dominion were truly afraid of. Not just individual adaptability, but us connected.
Exactly. Our greatest strength. Interconnected, shared consciousness. Something their rigid top-down control system couldn't comprehend, let alone replicate. The amplifier was the physical manifestation of their deepest fear.
Okay, so they activate it. What happens?
Ripples. Like psychic shockwaves hitting the Dominion network. Fear. Pure, unfiltered terror spreading through their ranks.
And the Dominion response?
Immediate. Total. Every ship they had left in the system turned and burned towards that station. Full retaliation. This was it. The end game.
But humanity was ready down below.
Ready and connected. The resistance launched everything. Those modified enforcers turned on their masters, improvised quantum weapons flared up, hijacked comms arrays, blasted coordinated signals. It was a global, synchronized uprising, fueled by that shared awareness from the amplifier.
And the final stroke. Zara's team linking the amplifier directly into that global network.
That was the killing blow. It created this storm of human thought, focused defiance, amplified and directed. It overwhelmed the Dominion's orderly minds. Their systems crashed. Enforcers went haywire.
And the compliance implants.
Reversed. Instead of control signals, they started broadcasting freedom, amplifying the human network further. It was a total system collapse for the Dominion. The ultimate checkmate, using the very thing they feared most.
And they just left.
Packed up and ran. A full-scale, panicked exodus from the system. They knew they'd lost. They couldn't defeat a humanity that had remembered itself and learned to weaponize its own nature.
Wow. Just wow. So Earth is free, finally.
Free, but changed forever. Access to incredible technology, yes, but more importantly, the memory of who they were, their real heritage, the start of a completely new chapter.
A humanity awakened, no longer content to be kept down, ready to face the galaxy on its own terms.
You got it. The path to the stars was open again. And maybe, just maybe, the Dominion did us a favor in a twisted way.
How so?
Their fatal mistake. They reminded humanity how to fight, how to adapt, how to connect. They reawakened the very things they tried to suppress.
That's a powerful thought. So, for you, the learner, listening to this deep dive, the core takeaway, I think, is about resilience, isn't it?
Definitely. That even against impossible odds, rediscovering our history, embracing our unique ability to adapt and connect, that's what turns the tide.
And the real aha moment here is that the ultimate weapon wasn't just better tech, it was us. Our minds, our unpredictable, interconnected consciousness.
Precisely. That unique human spark the Dominion couldn't control or understand.
This story, the one you shared, it really underscores the power we have when pushed, the importance of knowing where we come from, even the forgotten part.
Absolutely. And it leaves you wondering, doesn't it?
What's that?
What other potentials are lying dormant inside us? What else could we achieve if pushed to the brink? And what does the future look like for a humanity that's rediscovered its strength, its ingenuity, and maybe its place among the stars?